rice hulls, people. Don't mill your rice hulls. Just take a couple handfuls and toss them in with the grain. That's all. Alright, welcome back guys to Northwest Small Batch Brewing. Sorry about the weird introduction. I'm having some audio issues trying a different microphone and made a bunch of adjustments, but it's still not fantastic. At any rate, here's where I'm at. I have my old system here that's been heating up the water since like 4 in the morning. So it's been about 3 hours to get 7 gallons of water up to 160 degrees. And I'm going to make a note of that so that the next time I have to heat up this much water, I know it took 3 hours to heat. Strike water. I'm going to be taking a lot of notes because this is a new brewing system I'm going to use, and I want to make sure I dial it in. So I need a lot of notes so that the next time I make a brew, I'm better prepared. So I won't videotape this whole thing. I'm just looking for a little picture that I had. Basically, I'm going to take this hot water that's at 160 and put it into the brewing system I'm going to use, and then I'll get to put this away. And I'm going to look at the directions on how to set the temperature and turn on the new system. So I won't bore you with that. I'm just literally going to take hot water from the spigot here, pour it into that, turn the temperature thing on that on to the right temperature. Basically just going to move the water over. It is 7 gallons of water, which is why I'm not just going to try to pick this up and pour it. Well, I couldn't anyway, but alright, so I won't bore you with this. I will fast forward to when I've got all the hot water in this up to 160 degrees. Alright guys, so I have a different mic on. I wasn't really happy with the old mic. Just so, I guess some clarification, I've had some microphone sound issues and I've gone through like 3 or 4 mics trying to find one that works, you know, for this channel. Unfortunately, I just keep coming up with dead ends. In fact, the last one I just tried didn't work at all. So this one, sometimes the sound cuts out and sometimes my audio doesn't sync up right. If I notice that, I'll go back to the Yeti microphone, which is more of like a speakerphone, so you get more feedback and stuff with it. But we'll just carry on. I mean, we'll still get the beer made either way. So this claw hammer. First thing I will say is it took me an extra hour to heat the water, even though I heated it overnight, because I did not realize that one of these outlets, and it does say, to be fair, it says heat on one side and pump on the other. Unfortunately, I had them reversed, and so the temperature was dropping and dropping, and I couldn't figure out, why is this thing dropping heat? Finally realized and switched the plugs, but by then it had already lost quite a bit. I'm at 160 now, so it is time to mash in. You can't see this off camera, but I have some, I have the grain that I mashed, that you saw me mashing yesterday. I'm going to try to come at this from the other side so that you can see better how this is going to work. Yeah, I don't know the best place to put the lid, but anyway. All right, we'll go ahead and mash in, see how much temperature loss I get from mashing in, and go from there. Hang on. There's some weird... That is weird, like a paper towel or something in my mash. How weird. Anyway, looks all right. Oh boy, this is going to be fun. All right. Can you guys see it all? No. I think that this side is the better side to be able to see the mashing in, but anyway. Alright guys, you still with me? By the way, that little piece of paper that I found, I think that was actually from the rice hulls. Anyway, 100 and, well, I lost 7 degrees in my mash-in, which is not bad. I had planned for 5. It actually went down by 7. So next time I'll do a 7-degree strike water. We're all set. I will be back in an hour to drain the grain. Drain the grain. I should make a t-shirt. Drain your grain. Alright y'all, it's been 1 hour since I put the mash in.
1 hour later.
And I'm going to go ahead and turn this, actually I'm not going to turn the pump off yet. I'm going to use this, excuse me for coughing here, I'm going to use this handy dandy coffee mug. And with the pump going, I don't know if you can see this, but I have a second camera. The mic might not be great, but I have a second camera set up. I'm going to try and do this. I've seen them do this on the claw hammer, where I'm going to go ahead and get a sample here for a pre-wort reading. Oh, I just sprayed myself. Well, what are you going to do, you know? So I don't think I need all of this, so I'm just going to pour in, woo, what I think I'll need. And then this rest of this will go back in, because I don't want to waste it. You know, I did get, I don't know if you guys can see, I guess not really, but I'll put my shirt up here. Yeah, got a little bit of wort. I mean, you can't make good beer without breaking some eggs, right? Something like that. All right, so pump off. Whoa. Wow. I got two. I got 2 hooks in. I got 3. Wow. This handle was starting to pull out too. Woo! Alright, well, it's draining now, but holy cow. That was a little bit more difficult than I had anticipated. Yeah, anyway. That's draining. We'll let this come up to 212, and then we'll go from there. So I'll be back in a moment. Okay, I'm back. It is almost at a boil. It is reading 208, almost 209 Fahrenheit. For those of you who don't know, 212 is boiling for us. Whoa! Haha! Haha! I got a boil over. Yeah, so quickly, I ended up with 6 gallons after the grain. So I started with 7 gallons and it was 6 after the grain. So that means I lost a gallon to the grain absorption. So I've got 6 gallons now in here boiling, pre-boil gravity 1050. And I'm going to put in my first addition here, which is a 1/2 ounce of citra. I don't know if you can see it, but it is citra hops. And then we'll put another final addition later. So in goes, hopefully you saw that. I have a little hop spider here. You can see the boil going. So that looks good. This is just enough. I'm going to turn the fan on, and then I will be back for the second hop addition. See you soon. Alright guys, let me turn this fan off here just for a moment. So, I'm going to do a 10-minute addition here. You can do 15, 10, 15, it's all the same. And in goes the last hop addition, a half ounce of citric. Alright, I can't talk. You know what I'm saying. Citra. And a half a wharflock. You don't need a whole wharflock for, you know, this small amount of hops that we're, or for 5 gallons. One whole wharflock is actually good enough for up to 10 gallons at least, so save some money and just use half a wharflock. Alright, 10 minutes and then we will start chilling her down. See you in a few. Alright guys, so let me turn off this fan. So the boil is done. The boil is done. Wow guys, I could not be any more right on where I want it to be at 5.5 gallons. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and start chilling this down to about 68 degrees, 70 degrees, and then I'll move it into a fermenter, so I'll be back. Alright, so we're back. Let me just tell you something. I'm never using a plate chiller again. I'm going to go back to my old method of using frozen 2 liters that are sanitized to cool down my wort, because I'll tell you what, I lost about a gallon at least of my beer because the hoses, let's just say I had to move hoses around and the wort inside them was boiling. I burnt my hand. So let's just say I'm not impressed with all of this pumping and plate chillers and everything. All right. That being said, let's get this done. So I've got my wort here, which is going through a plate chiller. It's bizarre. This whole setup is bizarre. Alright, so I'm just going to turn the pump on, and this will give me enough aeration. It really will. Alright. Let's see what we can do here. Yeast is pitched, my friend. Alright, pump off. The rest I'm going to have to just do by hand. This will be pressure fermented in my fermentation chamber. I should have something around 4.5 gallons. A little shy of what I wanted, but a lot of it just ended up all over my floor. So, live and learn. It's a new brewing system. So I will package this up and I'll see you in a month when it's ready to stick into the fermenter. See you then.
One eternity later.
Alright guys, so here's where we're at. It's been 30 days and so I have, as you can see, moved my beer into the kegerator and hooked it up to the tap to give it a week to fully carbonate. It is a pressure fermented beer, so I don't even have to move it out of the fermenter. I just take it right from fermentation, stick it right into the kegerator, and serve right off of the fermenter. It's amazing. See you in a week for tasting.
1 week later.
Alright guys, so let's do a quick recap while I'm waiting for the ridiculous amount of head retention on this beer to settle a little bit. So this is, as a review, Pilsner smash beer. Man, it's so long ago, I don't know what kind of, I use citra hops in it. Okay. I'm looking for my, here we go, OG 1058. Final gravity 1010, making this 6.3% alcohol. If you're curious, I will put a picture probably up in this corner of the gravity reading for the final gravity. Yeah, so I mean, I don't want to go through any more of it. You've seen the video if you watched it on how I made it. It's actually remarkably clear, considering it's only been a week. It's still a little bit foggy, but if it's anything like the Vienna Smash that I made last month, in another week or two, this will be just crystal clear. It's much lighter. That's the first thing to note. Compared to the other Smash beers, it is unbelievably lighter in color. Very, very, boy, straw colored. Not even straw, it's lighter than that. So right off the bat, I'm not really enamored by the aroma. It's not a bad aroma, like it doesn't smell bad. Remember, this was pressure fermented, and it was temperature controlled. So there wasn't a whole lot more I could do to make sure that there was no off flavors created. So I don't think it has anything to do with that. I think this has to do with the malt itself. Yeah, it's not an off flavor smell. It's just, I don't know, not all that pleasant. Well, let's see how it tastes. Okay. It tastes better than it smells, and it does not taste like 6.3% alcohol at all. So that's pretty interesting. Boy, it's hard to explain. It does taste sort of like not wheat, but like grain. You know, like malt forward. It's not bad. It's a very mellow flavor. The smell, the aroma is far stronger than the flavor. The flavor is pretty mellow, kind of a grainy sort of flavor, like a grain, like malty. I'm looking for the citra hops. I guess, yeah, if I search for it, I can get a little bit of the citra, you know, the hop smell in the head of the beer, the aroma. It's really not in the flavor that much. I suppose you could make an argument that there's a really very light citrus. Honestly, the weird thing is people say citra hops taste like citrus, but for me, I always taste pineapple with citra hops. Always. So there is this sort of, for me at least, a vague pineapple-y taste in the background, but it's pretty difficult to pull it out. So mostly grain. I guess Pilsner, you know, grain. That's what it tastes like. It's not bad. I'm not sure. Well, I am sure. I wouldn't make this on purpose again. Not that it's bad. It doesn't taste bad. It just doesn't. It's nothing like. It's not enough for me to go, oh man, I'd love to make that again. So it's good, but it's not, you know, like repeatable good. So I wish I could give it a better review, but I mean, the good part of it is there's no off flavors or anything. It tastes fine. It just isn't anything that, you know, blows you out of your seat or anything. So that's all I have for this video. Please stay tuned and subscribe for next week. I will post a video next week comparing all 4 of the smash beers that I've done over the past 4 months. I've kept bottles of some of the prior ones. And I also kept one bottle that I took off of the tap. No special beer gun or anything. No back pressure, you know, flow. I literally just put the bottles. This is how I always do it. I put the bottles up to the tap. Of course, you turn the tap pressure down, and I just fill it right from the tap. Yeah, you could get some oxygen in there, but with these kinds of beers,
I just have never had an issue. I can see it being a problem if you have a really hoppy beer where the hops could get oxidized and go in a bad direction. But I don't really brew those kinds of beers. So generally speaking, if I fill bottles from the keg, I just do it right from the tap. But the test is that I've also heard people say that the carbonation doesn't stay in the bottle very long when you do it that way. And I've never tested it. I always drink the bottles pretty quickly that I pull from them. So I'm going to open one bottle of, I don't even remember which one it was. I think it was the first smash beer like 4 months ago. And I put it in the cupboard, unrefrigerated. So I kept it at room temperature. And I'll put it in the refrigerator here and use that as also one of the sort of experiments to see, is it still well carbonated 4 months later, even though it was kept at room temperature and bottled just off the tap of the keg? A lot of people say no, so they may be right, but I'm interested to find out. So anyway, cheers, salud, and I will see you next week for a review of all 4 of the smash beers. Until next time, keep on brewing, and see you soon.